Ah, and I say, here we go again. Hi there, folks. And okay, well, for starters, it seems as though this is mirroring the. Looks like it's mirroring the image again. Let me verify that. Yeah, it is mirroring. That's odd. Okay, well, fortunately, we can live with that. Anyway, yeah, here is the finished apple pie. Seem to have as much of an egg wash on the top as I would have liked, but I don't think anybody's going to complain about this, especially if we give it a scoop of ice cream as well when we serve it tomorrow. So, yes, I was not really worried about how the apple pie would turn out because, again, I put this recipe together myself. The crust, what's a good word? Inflated, I guess, nicely. And so, as a result, this is going to be a decent apple pie tomorrow. Okay, it's still kind of hot, so I will have to move this aside with my gloves, and then we will get down to the business at hand. Yes, as the title of this one says, here we go again with the pumpkin pie. Um, those of you who were here about an hour ago know how I accidentally ruined the previous pumpkin pie. And so this time I am determined to get it right. Hello again to Papa Dan and Granny Graham, and hello Rich Qualls as well. Yes, and B Pell Pal as well. Now we're going to get on with it and get a real pumpkin pie done. And well, I shouldn't say this time there will be no mistakes because I've tempted fate enough already tonight. What I can say though is that we've got yet another cast iron pie plate to play with, sort of. Specifically, this is a skillet lid to a large double Dutch oven. I've actually had this since um, about January or February of 2011. And yes, I mean, that skillet lid, they call it a skillet lid, but as you can see, this thing is a perfect cast iron pie plate in itself. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. So let's start greasing this up and we will get this going as quickly as we can because I want to go to bed. And so do you, I know that. Um, yeah, that means really once this is done and the pie is in the oven, I'm not going to make this as long as the last video here. So once we get this pie in the oven, I will call it for the night because I'm going to have to clean up my mess. And that should be done by about the time the pie comes out of the oven. Nonetheless, I am determined to get this pumpkin pie done right. And precisely for that reason, I'm going to go with my own pumpkin pie recipe tonight now, only because I want to do something I can trust and hopefully something my guests will enjoy as well. So let's get this going here. Okay, we've got this pan greased up nicely, which means now, once again, let's put this aside for the moment and roll out the dough, the other ball of pumpkin pie dough that I just happened to have conveniently made, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. So, thanks to your advice, though, tonight, folks, we are going to do this one as well with parchment paper and go from there. All right, so hopefully this should not be too difficult, although once again, my problem is with getting this thing to stay. Okay, good. All right, this is the other ball of pumpkin pie dough, which is essentially they call it an all butter crust because it is really just a 3 ingredient crust, which all we have here is, move this aside, flour, a full stick of butter, and a little bit of water or liquid, I should say, yeah, to bring it together. Because, yes, as I mentioned earlier tonight, I actually used alcohol to bring the pie dough together, with maybe only about a tablespoon of water in there to form the necessary gluten. All right, so you can see just like last time, this is off to a good start here. I have the milk aside just largely so I don't forget it, but let's just be patient. The last time this happened, this parchment paper slid all over the place as well, but eventually ended up getting the way we wanted it. So just have to be patient. There we go. Now we're starting to dig in. Yes, it was at the advice of the folks here on YouTube tonight that they suggested I roll the pie crust out with parchment paper rather than the usual wax paper. And I think it turned out pretty good. So we're doing it again using parchment paper for our pie crust. Okay. I had let that dough chill in the fridge again for about an hour, but then I took it out maybe about 20 minutes ago. Seems like it's performing well this time. There we go. Now we're starting to make some progress. The difference between this recipe and the one that I used earlier tonight from Tasting History is not that much, although this recipe, rather than using molasses, it does in fact use sugar. It also uses milk and cream rather than molasses. So yeah, it is more of a typical pumpkin pie recipe. Not that there's anything wrong with that. After all, that's kind of the whole point. After all, this is a pumpkin pie. All right. Let's put that over. Oh, there we go. All right. So at least for Thanksgiving tomorrow, one way or another, there will be pumpkin pie. Yay. Of course, there is also a gas station food store chain in this area here called Burn Dairy, Byrne. And they are known for having food that is actually a little bit better than what you would get at a typical gas station. I'm pretty sure, as an absolute worst case scenario, someone could probably get a pumpkin pie at Burn Dairy even on Thanksgiving. But with any luck, I should not have to go that route. I'm still determined to get this pumpkin pie over and done with, so that tomorrow I will be able to bake the turkey and the sides. There we go. I think we are getting close to it. Actually, I just realized. Let me turn the oven temperature. Well, no, I think I'll leave it as is for the moment. I had to raise the oven temperature to 425 because that's how it starts. You start at 425 and then bring the oven temperature down to 350. But that also means that this crust only needs to bake in the oven for a few minutes, which is good. I still like this French style rolling pin though. I will once again recommend, if you have never used one of these, give it a try and see how you like it. Unfortunately, it looks like this dough has a big gap in the center. I will just have to compensate for it. We're probably, yeah, I'd say we're getting close to it. About another minute or so, and I think this dough will be able to fit into the pan. All right. Oh, shut up. Okay. All right. Let's do it, shall we? That came off easy. And here comes the pie plate. And here comes, careful, the dough. Well, that came off easy enough, and it's a good thing because I definitely really lopsided this. It's not one thing, it's another, isn't it? All right, let's get this in. There we go. All right. Well, based on this, I can see I'm going to have to fake it, which is precisely what I'm going to do as quickly as I can, especially since the thing about baking a pie crust is it tends to shrink. It means it's these parts here that are still low down by the edge are the parts that I need to worry about. Fortunately, looks like this dough is at a decent consistency. Finally, there we go. Much better. All right, so now we will pop this in the oven. It'll only take probably less than 10 minutes to bake this. So let's get this in fast. All right. And while we're doing that, actually, in fact, I think I'll bake it on the top shelf because I don't want to burn the crust even if the pie goes in. So it is 10:49 p.m. right now. I would say, and I will actually check it in about 7 minutes. So we're talking like 10:55, maybe 10:56 p.m. Okay, while we're doing that, let's get out our ingredients, including the eggs, mind you, which in fact are going to go into this pie first. How about that? Which is what I should have done in the first place. One, two, three, and four. There we go. Those eggs cracked, not too bad. All right, then from here, we'll have to open up another can. Good thing I had another can of pumpkin. Yeah, unfortunately, they were out of pie pumpkins. So I am going to have to make do with canned pumpkins. And yes, I am very much aware that you can use a squash to make a pie, and it still turns out just fine. Oh, shut up. Okay. There we go. There we go. Also means I need to scrape this off because I need to use every bit of this. All right, there we go. Next would be 1.5 cups of white sugar. And my half cup, fortunately, I have a 3/4 cup. So there's definitely going to be sugar in this. Good grief. Unfortunately, my sugar has large lumps in it. Notice how it's always something, folks? Well, I will have to deal with that. Fortunately, lumps of sugar are not as difficult to contend with as other kinds of lumps. So we will make it work. All right, then from there, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Because I'm not trusting myself tonight. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. And what did I say? 9:55 p.m. to check that. So about 10:55 p.m. So about another minute or so. 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. Half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Where did my nutmeg go? Here it is. Do this fast at this point. I already said my bit about grinding your own nutmeg. I am a fast convert to this, and I enjoy it very much. Okay, now at this point, we're going to have to pause and get that crust out of the oven. Not bad. Strangely enough, it looks like a couple of holes in the crust. Well, that's not going to kill the pie. So now that we've done that, let's put this to one side because it's hot. And anyway, we're done with the dry ingredients in this. So time for the wet ingredients, which are simply cup. Dig out my measuring cup. Here it is. 1 cup of heavy cream. This might use all of my cream. Screensaver. 1 cup of milk. Yeah, that's the thing about pumpkin pie. You've got a pretty liquid batter here. It is definitely no cake, that's for sure. Get the milk back in the fridge. Take out the vanilla extract. 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then we will be ready to get this pie into the pie shell and into the oven. 1, 2, 3. All right. And it's time once again to start mixing. And that also means, yeah, good, those lumps of sugar are already dissolving. So this won't take very long. Especially because I can get out the egg beater again. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. With that, I do believe we have it. Maybe a little bit more over here. There we go. All right. At last. Sure took long enough, didn't it? And this time there are eggs in the batter. So that means into the pie shell, carefully. I think this is a little lopsided, in fact. Here we go. Take two. Yeah, this is definitely behaving more like a pumpkin pie. In fact, don't want this thing to expand too much. All right, that also means let's try to get this way. Here we go again. Oh, I get to do this live so that if the worst happens, which I hope it doesn't, you will get to see it in the next few seconds. Which means let's be careful. Calm down. And away we go. Gently. Gently. And it is. All right. Yay. So let's turn the oven temperature down to 350. Let it slowly decrease. And it should be in the oven for the next hour. Which also means we're all set. Oh, don't sneeze. Yeah, thanks a lot, Rick. All right. Well, at least we have it. You can only see how well it turns out this time. Well, if nothing else, at least we have an apple pie. So, once again, I think I will end this the way it began. Let me bring that apple pie over for one last look. Uh, handle is still warm, but it's not going to burn me. Thank goodness. And there we go once again. Here is our apple pie, at least. Yeah, the first one was interesting, Debbie, wasn't it? Well, you folks can all watch the replay nonetheless. And we will see how this one turns out. Until then, though, everybody, have yourself a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. Here's hoping it is free of mishaps. Here's hoping it's free of drama. And here's hoping you get to cook lots of food in cast iron. So thank you again, everybody. Have a good evening. See you next Wednesday.